Burnout is a modern day disease. We often mistake burnout for anxiety. We often mistake burnout for depression. And yet we just don't understand that we are tired. We get burnt out when we get so busy that we don't make time for solitude with our God. What a dangerous way of living.
Sometimes you even forget to sleep. You just pass out because of the exhaustion.
Wow, what an expression.
Hey, bro, because that happened to me recently.
Women and younger individuals often experience high stress levels, underlying the need for targeted support.
Exhausted.
It's like the only time we share an intimate moment is when we pray together. After that, once we are done praying, we're back on our phones. You know, we communicate through the phone. We share jokes with each other on the phone. It's like we're so anxious that we can't sit together and really talk about things. The digital world has desensitized us to the world around us.
So I think I had watched some video at some point, and the guy was talking about how much digitalization has affected them. So you find people they rather look at the object that is right in front of them, but through the tablet,
and get fascinated about it
than look at it physically, because it's right there, and talk about it.
3, 2, 1, lift off. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this.
Hello.
Ish. Yeah, ne.
Yeah, what a day.
What a day.
What
a year. What a life. Yo. I want to stop saying welcome to episode what because I feel like we're already in this. You know, there's no need to start introducing the episodes as numbers because they will live on until.
No,
1-6. One number 6. This guy. On episode number 6. For those of you who don't know, my name is Thobo Sethibe, as per my government credentials. Yeah, you can
Google.
No, you don't need to Google me. I like to introduce myself as just a creative guy. You know, I am interested in a lot of things. I mean, I'm a creative guy who's studying finance and banking. What? You know? Yeah, man, I'm not alone as usual. And as you can see, today is just a solo podcast, just the two of us. We don't have guests.
Yeah. Back to the usual. Introduce yourself, my guy. For those who don't know, my name is Kamo Baipuleti, and I'd say I'm what's the word? I'm a business major through the lens of architecture. I no longer want to call myself an architecture student. I'm studying business through the lens of architecture. Yeah. I think that's the phrase that resonates more with me, that makes more sense.
You and a serious guy.
Yes, sir.
What's a serious self?
Yeah.
As you can tell, by the time you are seeing this video, you're gonna see this when the year begins. But we are shooting it when the year is ending, and I'm not going to lie. I am tired. I am
We're all tired,
exhausted. Oh my goodness. I cannot even begin to explain how I'm feeling. You know?
Too much.
It's too much.
Too much.
Petrol.
If you go to the pressure bicycle, hey, no more driving, bro.
Yo. But in all seriousness, as you can see, today we're talking about burnout.
Yes, sir.
We're talking about burnout.
Not the car game, Clem, not the video game.
Need for Speed.
No, I can remember PS2 days.
Yeah. No, but I'm just saying, we're talking about burnout, man.
Yeah.
Burnout is a modern day disease. As to me, as how I would see it, it's a modern day disease that we often mistake for a lot of things, you know? We often mistake burnout for anxiety. We often mistake burnout for depression. And yet we just don't understand that we are tired. We are tired. And a lot of the times also, we get burnt out when we get so busy that we don't make time for solitude with our God. You know, so before I really dig deeper into what burnout is, as per my little research, I want you to tell us what do you, in your own way, how you've experienced burnout.
Hey, there was a time with within my architecture studies, I almost missed my final presentation because of burnout. I was slaving throughout the entire week, my guy. It was to a point where I'd work sleepless nights. I'd work at school, to the point where the cleaners would find me still working. Then I head out, go home, take a shower, come back for an early class. So it's like 8. And the cleaners would come in at around 7 a.m., 6:30, 7 a.m. They'd find me working. And then get happen and labor on the corridors, go home, 8 a.m. I'm back for a class.
But how were you able to do all of that?
The entire week, from like Monday to Friday. And then, and it happened also throughout the weekend as well. It got to a point where the following Monday we had our presentations. And I got home, I was like, you know what? Let me just take just a small nap and just to make sure I'm ready for this presentation. Can't they?
And then you overslept.
I overslept, my guy. And then I woke up because let's say Undertaker. When we just light up. I'm like, wait, what? What is going on? I just woke up I checked my phone. I'm like, what? The presentation started at 9, and I woke up at 10 to 9.
Whoa, I can imagine the panic.
Bro.
First they're like, oh, should I bath first or should I just go?
Exactly. So I'm there, I'm like, yo, what do you do? And the thought at the back of my head, I'm like, why is no one calling me over here? Where are you, bro?
Yeah.
So I get up, I'm like, no, I'm gonna just take a quick 5-minute shower. I'm in and out. Get in the shower, quick, fast. Bath. I'm outside. I think I was in school at like 9 on the dot.
What? What kind of speed is that, say? What kind of speed is
I've never
that?
lived far from school.
Yeah, no,
like
facts.
3-minute drive or so. One song, yeah. What, 3 minutes or so, yeah. So it wasn't that far of a drive. So I get to school. Mind you, I think I was the second person to present.
Whoa, you almost missed your presentation, sir. You almost missed your presentation.
So I get there, I get to school, I have all these papers and models and whatnots that I need to pen up. So I'm there, my lecturer's like, hey bro, what are you doing? Where have you been? What? Are you ready to present? I'm like, ish, just give me this and I haven't started penning. So I'm there.
Oh, you guys are supposed to pin up your stuff.
Yeah.
So
it's architecture, it's drawings, it's research. We've printed out some stuff, so you need to pin up to show our work.
Yeah, so, the only one you hadn't pinned up.
Yeah,
that's so crazy.
I'm second.
Yeah.
Number one, pinned up.
Oh,
that was third. Number one, number two. I get there while number two is presenting. Yeah,
that's madness.
So I start pinning up as he's presenting. I'm pinning up. The lecturer is like, hey bro, are you done? Are you ready to present? I'm like, ish. I'm ready. I keep telling him I'm ready, but I'm there still pinning up. I have a lot of stuff to be presenting. And then they're like, you know what? We'll move on to the next person. I'm like, yo.
So if they move on to the next person, it means you're not presenting.
Yeah, this guy is strict or what?
Yo.
So if he moves on, there's a chance you're not presenting. So, but luckily one of the other lecturers are like, now let's give him a chance.
Yeah.
So I finished pinning up while the other guy is presenting. Then they come back to me. So I present. Presentation goes down, everything. Then after everything, I look at my friends after the whole presentation. I'm like, bro, why didn't niggas call me over here? Come on, presentation.
Yeah.
Everyone trying to wake me up.
Yeah,
like, bro, check your phone. I look at my phone properly. 30 missed calls. Like, what?
30 missed calls.
Bro.
Yo. Hey, that's a madness. That's a madness.
My guy.
So how did you do in the exam, in the presentation?
No, actually I had to work. So I did well. Well, not to the point where I would have wanted, but I did well. Regardless.
That's crazy.
But almost added another year to my schooling career, bro. Because that one would have been a straight retake. No sub, no nothing.
But you know what my thing is?
Yeah.
I've been wondering, why is it that us as students, we seem to fail to find a work-life balance, if I can put it that way, because it's normal for a student to live the way that you are describing, study through the night, sleep like 2 minutes, and then you go to school, you're going to sit for an assessment. Like, for me, honestly, I don't see that as normal at all.
And
Like, I really wonder, is it on us? Is it the system, the way it's built? Because what I've picked up, just monitoring myself and other students, is that we're not productive with our time.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest. During the day, we're not productive with our time as much as we could be productive.
Yeah.
Which
is
really.
why we end up having to pull all these sleepless nights.
Facts.
Procrastination.
Procrastination as well. When you should be using that 8 to 4 time frame to really become so productive with your time, so that at night you are sleeping and rejuvenating. We do other things that are not school related. For me, it's playing pool. One thing I've seen the Russians do. The Russians, oh my goodness, the Russians are crazy. The Russians, when it's time for school, they're at school, they're grinding. By 11 p.m., they're out, are sleeping. They wake up at 5, they're starting that day again. Why can't we do it? What is wrong with the African men's brain?
Hey, man, we like playing too much.
Complacency, man. But without hitting too much at the heart. I'm going to give you a description of what burnout is. According to World Health Organization, burnout, now acknowledged by WHO as an occupational phenomenon, transcends beyond mere tiredness. It wait, let me read simpler English. Yeah. What's going on? The modern ways of life have drastically affected our work-life balance and stressors in life. Through our research, we've captured the public's perceptions of burnout and the contributing factors. So just to break it down a bit, basically...
Man, I read that complex one, Clem.
Just for the English. Oh, Chamala, simplicity sometimes is the best approach, but okay. It encapsulates and integrates interplay of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion resulting from prolonged stress, overwork, or lack of balance between work and personal life. So, just to break it down, burnout.
Break it down into smaller chunks.
Smaller, easier English, I guess. Burnout is a mix
English
of physical, emotional, and mental exhaustion as a result of stress that you have over a long period of time, overworking, and lack of balance between the work and personal life. Literally what you just described. And it's so funny because in today's world, we have began to perceive value as the number of hours you've put in. Which doesn't make sense, really. You might find out I'm going to do work for 30 minutes. And it's valuable, it's efficient, it's fresh, it's the best. But I want to sit for 20 hours and say, hey, I've worked. Hey,
that's when you feel very
I've pushed. When you might find that work that you prolong, that you put too much thought into, you are taking away the beauty of the work.
You end up distorting it.
Right? Anyway, so physical exhaustion. This aspect of burnout manifests as persistent fatigue, feeling drained, and a notable decline in energy levels. It's not just feeling tired, it's a chronic state of weariness that affects one's physical capabilities. So basically, we are saying that you can feel burnout in your body.
Yeah.
That constant feeling of, oh my goodness, I'm tired.
Yeah. How can I explain it? It gets to a point where you just pretty much a walking corpse. I think that's how I could describe it. Because of the exhaustion. Like I say, you feel it on you in your body. Even the simplest task just feels so tedious. And yeah, nah.
As you're saying this, to be honest, like this is what I've been going through burnout. You know, as we were planning as we were impromptu planning for this shoot, I asked you, I was like, so what do you think we should talk about? Yeah, like, nah, let's talk about purpose and as it relates to business. I'm like, nah, I don't feel like that's gonna really connect with what is happening right now. You know, because I like to really relate with myself and my current situation, you know. So I've genuinely been experiencing burnout. You know, the exhaustion is insane, bro. It's insane. And the worst part for me is that it caught up to me while I was doing my last assessments, exams, coursework. So I won't even lie. I literally, excuse my French, half-assed my last assessment. You know, literally right now as I speak, my room is a daunting mess. It's a mess. And as I was getting the equipment, I'm looking in my room. I'm like, wow. So I'm really gonna go out there. I'm gonna go out there and find it like this. I wanna go and sit on a podcast and speak to this mic. Somebody's going to look at me and perceive me as, oh my goodness, this guy must have his stuff together. But my room is a mess. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, so burnout is also expressed as emotional drain. Burnout profoundly impacts emotional well-being. It leads to feelings of detachment, cynicism, and a reduced sense of accomplishment. Individuals might experience a sense of disillusionment or emotional numbness concerning their work or daily responsibilities. That's one.
Sure.
Do you see the reactions you're having? Yeah. Literally, as I was reading from Google, that's what I was going through a roller coaster of emotions because I was like, I've been labeling myself as anxious and depressed when really I'm just burnt out.
Yeah.
Right? Because according to this description, burnout makes you feel like you're not there. It makes you feel like you're not relating to what's happening around you. You know,
there's too much going on.
There really is too much going
to process.
Too much. And sometimes I genuinely see it as self-imposed.
Yeah.
You know, this past week, I got into a break. I didn't want to get into the break, if I'm being honest. I wanted to work. But my partner was like, no, you need to take time to yourself.
Yeah.
Just this whole week, you need to take time to yourself and just
rest and reset.
Just rest and reset, lazy out. Just be a human being, you know. Of course I did it, and through it I was like, I was dreading it, bro.
Because you're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
I was doing it for the sake of doing it, you know.
Yeah.
And while I'm not fully rested or anything, I think I've sobered down to really realize how tired I am, how much I needed to take a moment to realize how that I'm detached from my Savior. I haven't been making quality time to spend with God. You know, in the mornings I rush through my Bible. Sometimes I don't even read my Bible. I just say a short prayer, I run to school. At night, say a short prayer, I sleep. What a dangerous way of living.
Sometimes you even forget to sleep. You just pass out because of the exhaustion.
Wow, what an expression.
Hey, bro, because that happened to me recently. Because I just finished my semester this past Friday. And because of the sleeplessness and the work that I've been putting throughout this semester, I've just been crashing for the past 3 days.
To the extent that you're just pumping out work to complete it.
No, in terms of sleeping.
No, okay, I'm further, but I'm further ahead, but because I think because you're talking about school, but go on.
I've been pushing school, and then I finished on Friday, and I got to Friday. I told you this the other day. I got home on Friday in the afternoon, As soon as I got home, I passed out from the exhaustion. I woke up. I got home at like 4 p.m. I passed out. Woke up at like 8. Went to go have my dinner. Went back. Passed out again. Woke up at like midnight. Just scroll through, just check on my phone or what the time was at the time, just to recalibrate myself. Then passed out again. Woke up in the morning, went to church, came back, passed out.
You slept after lunch.
Yeah, after lunch, after everyone left.
Oh yeah.
Passed out.
What time did they leave?
You guys left at around 2, 3.
I mean the your dad's friends.
I think I passed out even while you were still there.
Yeah.
You passed out. I passed out that night. Woke up yesterday morning. What was it? No, what day were you on today?
Monday. Today's
Yes,
Monday.
yesterday morning. I still felt tired. Then I passed out again. And then woke up properly and to go about my daily activities.
And now you had to force yourself.
Now I had to force myself to actually get up. Then when I got back, one more time.
It's go on.
Yeah, it's just been a moment to like rest, properly rest.
Your body forcing you actually to rest.
Because I haven't been taking enough rest this entire semester. So my body's like, you know what, my guy? Yeah, I've been allowing you to work overtime, but now, hey, let's take it.
And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because I was listening to you and you're saying, no, we can't rest. We have to work. And in my head, I'm like, this guy. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take my break. If this man wants to work, that's up to him. And I'm going to take my break. And here you are, your body's forcing you to rest. But it happens.
Yeah.
It just shows you how much everything catches up to you.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You might think you're cheating the cycle by putting in the extra hour, listening to this idea that the richest people in the world are putting in that extra hour is what I genuinely think kind of, okay, let me tread back. Yeah. So I've been watching this podcast called Modern Wisdom. And the guy was talking about how, I heard in 2 podcast episodes, he was talking about how our work, when you start out, your work is fueled by resentment. Resentment of the situation you are in. Yeah. You're like, nah, I come from such and such a background, either you're poor or whatever narrative you give yourself to push yourself. And it only pushes you from 0 to 50. That fuel takes you from 0 to 50. But along the way, it's countless sleepless nights, of blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes.
And I'm really asking myself, is it really necessary? Do we really need to go through this?
That blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes. Or do we need to learn how to use our time wisely?
No, I think definitely we need to learn how to use our time wisely. But also looking at how currently we don't use our time effectively, we end up having to make up for that by these sleepless nights. So I think, we could eventually get to a point where you don't necessarily have to spend sleepless nights, because you've devised a system where now you can spend your time wisely and you know how to be efficient with your time. But right now, I guess the only solution is to go through the sleepless nights, go through the tiresome route.
No. If you're gonna put it that way, that means we're not gonna work on what we're preaching right now. No, sir. The semester is over. You have now until February to figure all of this out. And I'm posing this as a challenge for us to try out, because the reason why I'm so concerned about this is because I genuinely want to have a sort of work-life balance where I can put in the hours and then in the evening I can go and spend time with my family. I can make time for my partner, because sometimes when I'm supposed to be talking to her, I'm working.
That tends to happen.
And it's not good,
because now it creates that what? That loss of communication starts to create some troubles now.
It does.
Yeah.
Even if she might be like, I understand, I know.
Yeah, but
Because when we're together, we can't even connect. Because that time when we were supposed to spend time with each other, I was working.
Because you were working.
Yeah.
Hush.
But
It's
anyway,
a difficult one.
yeah. One of the other things that we talked about in terms of burnout was how it affects our minds, right? So mental strain. The mental aspect encompasses cognitive difficulties. This is ChatGPT, by the way. I don't want anybody to be like, oh, this guy.
This guy's top tier.
No. I did research and then plugged it into ChatGPT so it expands. This is your personal assistant. Use it wisely. Don't use it to look for answers. Use it to help you be effective. Anyway, the mental strain. The mental aspect.
Help you spend your time wisely.
Yeah. The mental aspect encompasses cognitive difficulties, impaired concentration, and decreased productivity. Yes.
Definitely.
Burnout affects one's ability to focus, make decisions, and maintain cognitive clarity. So just to explain that, burnout affects your concentration. It reduces your productivity.
Yes,
it also affects the way you behave.
Yeah.
As it relates to the word cognitive. It affects the way you behave. You can't relate to people when you're burnt out.
Exactly.
You really can't.
You tend to get angry more easily.
You become so irritable.
Yeah.
So much that if the phone rings, you're like, what is this person looking for?
Yeah. Definitely. And also when it gets to this thing of productivity, you end up, the work you do a comparison, the work you've done whilst you're thinking you're in the zone of pushing your sleepless nights and everything within this burnout period, and the work you do then, take a look at it the next morning after you wake up from that rest, and you're going to have a different look on it. You're going to have to look at it. What was I doing throughout this time? I think I've wasted my energy doing this. Because at that time you'd think, okay, I'm pushing work. It makes sense. This thing looks good. And then the next day you're like, nah. I should have just rested and produced a much better end result after being fully rested. So,
as you're saying that, when this year began, I had sort of figured out a way to do it, right?
Yeah.
I had figured out a way to do it in the sense that I think for the better half of the year, I was waking up 5 a.m., putting in those hours. At night, I would sleep. And you're right, like the work was clean, if I can use those words. The work was nice. It was looking good.
Yeah.
Working on small chunks every single day. That was working. And then I think I disrupted my balance by adding one more thing, which was tutoring. Well, I had started tutoring before I went to school. And then now tutoring school happens and I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
By the time I'm supposed to figure it out, I'm now tired. Like, where I'm literally zombieing through life, so I can't reason. I'm just doing it to do it, So that is the extent of how much burnout really affects us.
It takes a mental toll.
It does, bro. It really does take a huge mental toll on
that
us.
with school stresses and life stresses. Comes game over.
Yeah. I want us to move into why it's so important to be concerned about burnout. But before I get there, the influence of modern lifestyle on burnout, like you just said, that school life or the like. Modern life characterized by
What does it say?
incessant connectivity, demanding work environments, and societal pressures significantly contribute to burnout. The boundary between work and personal life has blurred, intensifying stressors and eroding the balance essential for overall well-being. Right? I think the word incessant connectivity, or the phrase, probably means the interconnectedness of everything in our lives. our lives have become so undefined that we define working as life.
Yeah.
You know, we define
And
working
life
as
as working.
and life as working. There's no separation between any aspects
Can
of
be
our
working
lives.
every time.
You can't. You can't be working every
Take
time.
some time to rest, in as much as and actually push against those that know me.
Even me.
Need to take some time off to rest, because some things you can push while you are tired.
True.
You really can't, because you become so inefficient and unproductive, and you're going to hate the work you've done. The following morning, once you wake up. So rather take the rest than start working with a fresh mind.
Oh man.
Don't push. Don't put so much stress on yourself as to make or getting the job done.
We'll get there. The part where you start hating your work.
Yeah.
But just to give us one more overview, common signs of burnout: feeling tired or drained most of the time, feeling helpless, trapped, or defeated, feeling detached, alone in the world, having a cynical, negative outlook of the world, self-doubt. You know, I think self-doubt relates to the part where you look back at the work and you're like, this is so incompetent. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a vicious cycle. Anyway, procrastination and taking longer to get things done, feeling overwhelmed. Those are common signs of
that last
burnout.
one,
Procrastination again.
And also feeling overwhelmed. Get to a point where you can just sit and look at all your work like, they never know what's wrong. Things and I've been working, but nothing is here.
Nothing is connecting.
Yeah.
I think it might be the emotional detachment. You really can't sit and look at your work and really appreciate it for what it is. You always want to reinvent the work.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. Leave it. We were talking about this in the last episode when we were sharing about God's creative process. At every point, he made it a point to take a break, look at the work and say, wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Rest at night, call it night. Day
Start the
2,
next
day
day.
3, day 4. He did that over and over again. Not that we're saying God gets tired or anything, but God has given us the blueprint
Of what you
to
should do.
yes to the creative process. Go check out episode 5.
Yes, sir.
But yes, what are we saying? Why we should be concerned about burnout? So burnout has a persistent nature, right? The persistent nature of burnout. Burnout isn't a passing phase. It lingers unless addressed. Left unattended, it tends to escalate, amplifying its detrimental effects on both physical and mental health. Addressing burnout is crucial to prevent further deterioration.
Yes.
So I think I get it. You know, as I was saying, that sometimes we tend to confuse burnout for other things. So as you can see, that elongated feeling of being detached, you begin to indeed feel sad. You know.
Yeah.
So as per this statement, the importance of attending to burnout is because it lays so low under the shadows that you don't realize what it is.
It's a
Silent killer.
silent killer. Ish, that was the word I was looking for.
Yep. It's a it's a silent
It's a
killer.
silent killer.
That is why it's important for us to address burnout. Kahati, irra.
Yeah. Hush.
Reason number 2, impact on health and performance. Unchecked burnout can severely affect an individual's ability to cope with job demands and daily life. It diminishes energy, focus, and motivation, which can hinder job performance and spill over into personal life, causing strain and imbalance. Oh, I feel so attacked. Yo, I've experienced this, dude. Like last year when I started school, it was just on the eve of me leaving free laundry, right? Because May of 2022, we had just started podcasting.
Yeah.
And then we took a break. The break lasted long. But it's just that also when I took the break is when I started my walk with Jesus. So him and I were just figuring things out. But fast forward August of the year, I start working, and this literally happens to me. Right? Literally, I had to ask my boss for a week off.
Yeah.
A week off. With my week off, I did nothing to figure out what was actually going on.
Yes.
You know, luckily for me, I had been going through psychotherapy, so I had self-awareness. I was able to pick up, oh, I'm feeling down, oh, I'm feeling sad, you know. But I wasn't really hitting it head on to say, okay, this burnout has affected 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I wasn't sorting out and packing things up, you know. So I really understand how burnout can impact on health and performance. And the sad thing is, at the time, between the months of August and September, between the months of August and November, I started smoking so intensively
To try and deal with
to try and cope with the burnout. Like I'd be like, no, I'm going to smoke weed so that I feel energized, and then I'm going to work. Literally smoke, look at the work for a bit, out. Now in the morning I have to repeat the cycle, you know. So leaving burnout unaddressed can lead to us medicating in ways that are actually harmful to us and are adding onto the problem.
You need to address the root cause, not the symptom.
Yeah.
Because when you address the symptom, you're always going to end up within this endless cycle of jumping from one thing to the other with no progress that is being made. Just like this great band, as we are running on the treadmill, chasing something, but you never get to it because you are still on the same spot. So you need to solve the root cause. That way, you know, the entire problem is dealt with. I gave an example with one of my friends at school. Look at how when you go to the hospital, when you have a certain disease, maybe let's say flu, for example, they don't treat the symptom. They give you antibiotics to treat the disease itself. So when you treat the symptom, the disease is always going to be there, and the symptoms are always going to continue because the disease is there. But when you treat the root cause, everything goes.
Essentially, the symptoms are like the alarm systems. Right?
That would show you that you have this problem. So now deal with the problem, not with the symptoms of the problem.
So, actually, I'm one person who likes to sit down and wonder about things. Like, I really, really wonder, especially when I'm affected by something. I will sit down and I will nitpick it. So, I've been thinking about the idea of what life is. And I've been asking myself, is life really a progressive, linear? Is life a linear journey? Simple words. Is life a linear journey in which we just follow time and time again, achieving the next thing? Right? That's the question I asked myself. And then I said, but no, that can't be the definition of what it is. Because the only thing that goes forward and will never go back is time. Right? So this journey of life is so, I don't want to say well curated. No, let me use that word. is so well curated that there will always be signs that you are doing something right or you're doing something wrong. Right?
Yeah.
The problem that I think I found myself facing is that I want to always be progressive. I want to always be chasing after the next thing instead of just settling and looking around to see if the work I've been doing has been done excellently,
Yeah.
or to see what the symptoms are leading me to. Right? We often think the symptoms mean do the next thing, but they are just an indicator that there's something wrong with the system.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a bug in the system.
There's a bug in the system. Yes. So what I've picked up is that the world's best performers go at this problem by creating systems.
Yeah.
Right? By creating systems that if there is a bug, you will be able to figure out what the bug is. Right? It's as if you are almost making your life predictable. Right? The thing about chasing after the next thing is that you are chasing after uncertainty.
Yeah.
But if you stick to the select few, the few things in your life, you're always able to figure it out. Okay, that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, man.
Next point.
Long-term ramifications of burnout. By neglecting burnout, individuals risk compromising their future well-being. It can lead to chronic health issues, heightened stress levels, and continuous decline in overall quality of life. If you keep neglecting burnout, it will catch up with you in the future. Through your health, through stress,
High blood.
and through a continuous decline in your overall life. You start wondering, why is my room always dirty? You never make time to clean it. That's a self-ed, by the way. It's a self-ed. I don't know if... Let me just read through these so we can move to the next point. Economic and workplace consequences. For employers, burnout among employees leads to reduced productivity, increased absenteeism, and higher turnover rates. The organizational cost associated with burnout is substantial, impacting the overall effectiveness and success of a workplace. So, burnout affects your work. It affects the organization you work for.
Not only you.
Not only you.
Because you are part of something.
So I also think that it's a call for organizations to look at the amount of work that they give
to their employees.
to their employees. You know.
But at the same time, I think that amount of work would have been already portioned out. It's just that, as we were saying earlier on, we just don't know how to spend our time wisely. So we end up leaving it for later, and then it keeps piling up. Then we spend sleepless nights trying to solve everything, then end up experiencing this burnout.
No, but I beg to differ.
But I'm just saying it could be a possibility that
I beg to differ. Sorry to interrupt. I beg to differ in the sense that I'm looking at the UB schooling system and the BAC schooling system. The amount of work you guys receive and the amount of work we receive.
Yeah.
You guys do 6+ modules in a semester, right?
An average.
Average, not average of 6
Or
modules.
5,
6 or 5, 6 or 5 modules in a semester. And all your lecturers are expecting the same output.
Yeah.
Right? In Moscow, I used to do an average of 9, 10 a semester. How am I going to be productive? How? When you're an intern at a company, they tell you, okay, they give you all the dirty work to do.
Everything they're lazy to do, they just shove it down your throat.
Exactly. And they expect you to bring results.
Yeah.
So that's the angle I'm looking at it. Yes, of course, I think some organizations are aware of the kind of impact that work has on their employees. So they try and ration it out, you know. So while it's also up to us as people to figure it out, the employer also needs to figure it out.
Yeah.
Misunderstanding and stigma. Despite its prevalence, burnout is often misunderstood and stigmatized, preventing open discussion and timely interventions. This lack of awareness exacerbates the issue, making it challenging for individuals to seek help. So it's not just
But
big
it's-
English,
Yeah.
but
It's a simple statement. Yeah.
it is a simple statement, and it really hits the nail in the coffin with the point we are making, that we can't pick out burnout for what it is.
Yeah.
Instead of figuring it out, we're given motivational speeches. Oh, the students need some motivation.
But the students are tired.
But the students are tired and are not resting.
They have the motivation. Which is what got them tired in the first place.
Yeah. And then evident prevalence and impact. Statistics highlight the alarming prevalence of burnout, especially evident in surveys where a significant percentage of workers report increased stress levels. Women and younger individuals often experience high stress levels, underlying the need for targeted support. Baholo re lapile.
Tired. Exhausted.
Addressing burnout requires a multifaceted approach involving support systems, organizational changes, and individual strategies. Right?
Yeah.
Basically, we deal with burnout from outside, from the workplace, and ourselves, from within. By acknowledging the impact, understanding its nuances, and fostering an environment conducive to well-being, both employees and employers can work towards mitigating the effects of burnout and fostering a healthier workplace culture. That's it.
That pretty much sums it up.
Yeah, that really sums up what burnout is and how it affects us. And now we're going to take it we're going to make a bit of a shift. But however, it's still within burnout, right?
A different perspective on it.
A different perspective on it. And it relates to our spiritual well-being. How burnout affects our spiritual well-being.
Yeah. It goes back to an example I'd given earlier on of how I was pretty much crashing this entire weekend. With burnout, it gets to a point where, well, with my case, I'd pass out, forgetting to pray, and then I'd wake up the next morning, pass out again. It becomes just a cycle of just sleeping, forgetting to get in contact with your creator. It reduces the time you spend with God. Because I noticed then I'm like, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, wait, I slept without praying. And it happened for a couple of days in a row. Or there was this past weekend, I was like, it's not right. So, you need to be careful with that, guys.
Yeah. Let me read this. Moving away from God causes burnout. Burnout is a state of physical and emotional exhaustion caused by long-term stress, often experienced in stressful jobs. It includes feeling tired, drained, helpless, cynical, and overwhelmed. Right? Even though it is a introduction of what burnout is.
Yeah.
Here we are trying to make the connection with how it affects our spirituality.
Yeah.
Right? Especially for the points, feeling drained, feeling tired, feeling helpless, cynical, and overwhelmed. These are things that push us, according to my understanding, push us away from God. Because once you're cynical, you lose hope. And you can't have faith in God.
Yeah.
Right?
You start to doubt everything.
You start to doubt him.
Yeah.
You see this thing of doing everything on our own. Now I just need to check how much time we've been recording for. Guys, we're looking for volunteers. Whoever wants to help.
Yeah.
We are broke. We can't pay you, but if you want to help us,
you are more
please
than
feel
welcome.
free.
You'll have fun. That one is guaranteed.
At least we'll feed you. That one we will feed you.
And you'll get home safely.
You'll get home safely. I'm sorry. But anyway, just the jokes. I'm not joking, but
Hey,
spirituality.
Your CV, Yana.
Spirituality serves as a vital resource in managing burnout. It reinforces inner peace, offers connection to something greater, and provides relief from daily stress through intentional practice. Research shows that spiritual exercises benefit mental health, aiding in acceptance, reducing negative emotions, finding meaning, and deepening relationships. Right? Simply put, spirituality is intentionally practicing a belief in a greater power, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at how any religion, oh yes, let me make this distinction between religion and spirituality. Oh no, it's here. But anyway, yeah.
Make it, regardless.
So religion is how I would describe religion. It's like, it's like we have an education system.
Yeah.
Right? And then we have different universities that teach different things, that look at things differently. You have UB teaches finance, but they teach it different from the way BAC would do that.
Yeah.
So religion is the same. The core fundamentals are quite similar. It's just that they are the approach is different. They are adapted to different cultures. Right? But once you're intentional about your spiritual life, you can really, really, really extract what's the word I want to use?
It's not connecting this
No,
with that.
you can extract the goodness out of it. That's as simple as I can put it.
Yeah. And then spirituality, the definition.
Yeah?
I got that.
No, that's what spirituality. I defined it. Can it a much simpler definition?
No, because I think you started off as on the religion aspect. giving that
Oh,
analogy.
of defining what religion is.
Yes.
Oh, spirituality.
Yes.
I think it's you are confusing me.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on. Spirituality addresses various mental health challenges such as poor self-esteem, low confidence, lack of self-control, and fear, complementing mental health treatment. Complementing mental health treatment. It's not solely tied to religion. It's not solely tied to religion. Even secular communities find comfort in spirituality. So this takes me back to episode 2, where we were reading through Ecclesiastes 9, and you made the declaration that, or we came to the conclusion that everything is there in the Bible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to learn about self-esteem, God tells you that He makes you fearfully and wonderfully.
Yeah.
If you want to boost your low confidence, God tells us throughout the book of Psalms that His high spirit sits with those whose hearts are crushed and those whose spirits are low. If you want to learn about self-control, we have the 10 Commandments. We have Paul extensively teaching on sexual immorality. We have Paul extensively teaching on love, as well as Peter. I mean, the greater part of the New Testament is focused on what I'm saying, and even more. You know, and fear, the fear of the unknown. I think fear relates to faith and believing that God is taking care of the unknown, right? And we are saying that spirituality complements mental health treatment plans. we are not saying don't go and see professionals. Please, please.
If need be.
Please go see a professional. You know what I like to say?
Yeah.
I like to say that I like to look at things like this microphone, this phone, this
Laptop.
I almost said notebook. Notebook is Russian. This laptop. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, the way the human being has intelligently created technology is evidence that there's a God out there who's allowed us different facets of his own intelligence. Right?
Yeah.
He's just given
Tiny
bits to everyone.
Yeah.
And then you want to tell me there is no God. Come on, man.
But it's funny how you started mentioning when you talk about the point of fear and all that. We literally yesterday we had a conversation about fear, but from the perspective of risk taking. As much as the season's title is taking a leap of faith, that is pretty much implies take a risk. You know, what would you define a risk as? Let me start with you.
How would I define a risk?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me talk about how I approach risk taking, right? So for me, taking a risk is doing something that completely goes against the grain of what your normal life is. Something that if it goes wrong, it can affect you dismally. Right?
Yeah.
But if it goes right, it will reward you greatly.
Yeah.
For example, taking a leap of faith as a student. For me, I like to tell my friends that, come on, man, find something to do. Start a business. Business.
something.
You know, what's the risk of starting that business? You have less time. You have less time to hang around with your friends, right? You have less time maybe with your schoolwork if you don't manage it well.
Yeah.
You have less time to do a lot of things. And if you don't do it well, it means that your perspective shifts from school to the business. And now school is affected, right? That's a risk. If you do it wrong, if you are financing it with your allowance, that means you are losing your money through the business.
Yeah.
Or maybe you are channeling too much of the money through the business. You start making money and then you feel like, why do I need to be in school? You let go of school.
Yeah.
Now you don't have that consistent stream of income. And now you have to depend on the business. You know, like there's so many things that can come into it. So just simply put, a risk is doing something that you wouldn't normally do, that can either greatly affect your life or change the trajectory of your life and make it upward, consistently upward.
Then in one word, why don't people take risks?
I think we focus on the failure aspect of one word. Fear.
Yeah.
Fear. That's the one word I can. No. I'd say doubt. Yeah, doubt. I want to settle on doubt.
Yeah, because the reason we came up with yesterday was with the risk taking is the fear of jumping into the unknown. And then you look at the word fear. Who came up with this concept of fear?
Okay, the way my brain is set up, right? So I think from our creation, right? When we were created and we had a deep relationship with God. Adam would walk with God in the garden. Adam would do nothing without consulting God, and God would do nothing without consulting Adam. So there was that deep relationship with the creator of life.
Yeah.
So when men sinned, we broke that close connection, right?
Yeah.
So we started facing the unknown because the one who knows everything became distant with us, right? So it became inscribed in our DNA that, oh my goodness. So let me say this. When man sinned, he got chased out of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
And now he was cast into the world. Right? He literally has to start a new life. We don't know what challenges those people were facing. Right? We don't know what great unknowns they were facing. So I think your question was about fear.
Who pretty much coined that?
How did
concept?
fear come about?
Yeah.
Well, that's how I perceive the question. How did fear come about? Fear came about because we got disconnected from the one who knows everything. We don't have that close relationship with him that if I have a question to ask, I can go to him and he clarifies it for me, and that fear would go. So that's it for me.
I looked at it from a different perspective.
And
But
how's
the whole
that?
concept of fear came about from the devil. It is something that he instilled in mankind.
Oh yeah. I mean, sorry for going on another tangent. Well, it does relate to the example I was giving about
No, it
sin.
relates. It relates.
But yeah, go on.
Because when you look at it in that sense, he pretty much coined this concept of fear and he instilled it in us. Initially, like you were saying, there was that relationship between us and the Creator. We had no fear, no sense of fear. We could go to him about anything and everything and we get our questions answered and vice versa. So now, when you start getting into this concept of fear, and when you look at the Bible, it multiple times, I forgot how many times, multiple times where God says now, thou shalt not fear. Why does he have to remind us this?
Why do I think God has to remind us not to fear? I genuinely think, like I said, we got disconnected from him, that relationship, right? We got disconnected from that close relationship with him.
Yeah.
And over the history of mankind, we've gotten so detached from him that we see him as this angry being who, if at any point I go out of what he wants, he will whip me with whatever, with wrath. You know, like, that's how we've perceived him over time. We perceive him as this being who I'm going to go on my knees and I'm going to ask him for things. When in fact he wants to have that intimate relationship with us. Right? So from his perspective, almost a perception. From his perspective, the way I think it is that he has to remind us not to fear because he wants to be close to us. For example, if you wanted a girl, right? The first time, okay, in this generation, how I think a relationship would go, any girl you approach would tell you that, no, I've been hurt by boys. I've been hurt by men. We are a man now. I've been hurt by men. So why should I trust you? Right? What are you going to tell her? You're going to sweet talk her. No, hey, I'm a good guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? You would tell her all the good things. And at least if you're a decent man, you're not just going to tell her. If you're a man of integrity, you're going to back your talk with action.
Yeah.
Right? And that is how God is with us. Not only does he tell us don't fear, even when we don't deserve it, he's still merciful to us. He still answers prayers that we don't go on our knees to pray. He answers to the brokenness in our hearts that we don't go on to talk to him about.
Yeah.
Right? So that is what I think when he says don't fear, he's trying to achieve. He's trying to ask for a relationship with us.
No, I think that is a profound answer, if I may put it. Because then when you now take all this answer on what we've discussed about fear and risk-taking, and you look at it from a point of maybe aligning it with concept of business and venturing into business. When you get into business now, like you are saying, the concept of him telling us so many times not to fear, so that we can start building this relationship and all that. We get into business with this base of a relationship with God, your creator. You get into business not with, I'd say, maybe a reduced amount of fear now. Instead of being at 100, maybe you're getting into it at a 10 or a 20, as an example. Because of now you're putting your trust and everything with God. I think now it opens up as a risk now. It becomes more manageable, if I may put it. It's not more scary now to take that leap of faith or that risk. It's a little bit much easier because now you know where you stand with your God. You have that basis, that relationship, and you can then take this risk forward with that understanding.
So you know what's coming to my mind is you're saying that the need to have a close relationship with God when you go into business. So I'm thinking about it in this way. When you go into business, there are many reasons that people go into business.
Yeah.
Right? You go into business to gain money for yourself. Right? You go into business, yes. But then when you go into business, the journey shapes itself.
Yeah.
For you. It molds your character. Right? Either for good or for bad. You choose what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And when you're faced with this forking road, whether you're going to focus just on money or the beauty of the journey that forces you to discover yourself, that forces you to learn, you know, I tie it back to to what you're saying, that relationship with God, that he's upside down in the sense that like the way God does his things is so different from what we're used to as human beings that we see it and we almost don't want to do it, right? So as related to business, the personal development, the character development, like I'm saying, business really, really, really molds your character.
Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
Your lens of viewing risk. First of all, having a relationship with God is a risk on its own, because he tells you surrender your life.
Yeah.
And I'll do everything for you.
Drop everything.
Drop everything. I will lead you. Right? So, what I'm trying to say is, wait, remind me your question again so I realign my thoughts.
It wasn't a question. No, it was more of a statement.
Oh, your statement was getting into business, taking a risk and connecting it with going into business, right? With God.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to bring in the aspect of risk when you are having a relationship with God. That I think we fear getting into a relationship with God because of that other unknown where he tells you, let me take control. Right? But at the end of the day, not looking at that fear aspect, at the end of the day, what do you have to lose? I will always remember this statement that my friend once said to me. What if there is a God out there?
Yeah.
What will I lose if in the end he comes and what if in the end the world will come to an end and I find out there is a God? What will I lose? Right? You stand to gain going to heaven with him. Again. So we're talking so much about this relationship with him. So I want to just share a few spiritual practices that you can do to connect with God. Right? So we have mindfulness and reflection.
Yeah.
I'm going to nitpick this. I'm just going to tied to engaging in meditation and prayer. Right? So being mindful and reflecting requires you to do something that is so simple, but at the same time, we subconsciously avoid. Something that we never make time for. Because it's scary to confront yourself. Right? It's scary to sit there and criticize yourself for such a crap human being. And I'm saying this because I know myself. At first, I thought I was in love with the process of picking and criticizing myself until I realized that it's not easy.
It's not nice.
It's not nice at all. Having to sit down and reflect and meditate and pray, and God is telling you, I don't like this part of your character. Right?
It gives you something to trouble you to mold that character.
Exactly. And He's telling you, change your character. It's not nice at all. And the second step to gaining spiritual prowess. English. Hey.
Dictionary.
Reading and learning. Delving into holy text or scripture, self-help books, or literature that uplifts and inspires can be a form of spiritual practice. Right?
Yeah.
Number 3.
The more you learn, the more you earn.
Sure, Mr. What's your page
Hybrid.
called? Mr. Hybrid. Artistic expression. Spending time with art, music, or creative endeavors can elevate one's spiritual connection to the world and others. Oh my goodness, I can attest to this. This thing right here that we always do before every shoot. This expression of art that always tells a story of its own.
Yeah.
You know, like every time when I create, I say a prayer. And ever since I started doing that, my creativity has gone to another level, bro.
Reaching greater heights, man.
Reaching greater heights, bro.
Yes,
like,
sir.
let me show you something.
Show them, Ghana.
Maybe not. It's for the logo competition. This is the logo. Nah, they haven't responded. Oh wait. Why am I showing this one? This one, where? This is the one.
And eventually this day I still haven't read about like this thing.
What, the logo?
No, not the logo, the company itself.
Oh, so basically the company sells rough cut diamonds. So the design brief for this logo was a logo that celebrates 10 years of the company. Right? And
How do you celebrate 10 years? No, 88, man.
bro, I'm telling you, let me show you where it started. Let me show you where it started.
Hey, I didn't see that. Yo.
This is literally where the logo started. You can never believe this is where it started.
Nah.
I'm telling you.
My baby. Yay. Yeah, nah, this is dope. No.
But yeah, I'll show you the design brief after.
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I think this topic about art and creativity is one that really resonates with my soul.
Yeah.
Because artists give a lot. You come to music, music artists sing through the phases of their lives.
Yeah.
Right? I'll give a typical example of a come up story. Drake.
Yeah.
You look at Drake's music from inception until now. How is Drake relevant 10 years later?
Bro.
How? How, bro?
People have fallen off.
People have fallen off, and Drake is still relevant
Some
today.
got on, fell off. And
Correct.
he's still
And he's still there. Not even that I'm trying to glorify the profanity he sings about sometimes, a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But just to see how Drake 10 years was talking about the life he would live today and how he's living the life he talked about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we are seeing Drake saying, I'm going to live life now. I'm leaving music. Right, in his messaging.
Yeah.
How artists, when they're going through the struggle, they sing about that struggle. And then they get that platform and they elevate. Right?
Because people can relate to that struggle. Yeah.
Exactly. Somebody said, I forgot his name. A friend of mine was saying I should connect with him. He's LinkedIn. He was saying that, why is it that Africa does not hold artists, art or creativity to a high regard? Because artists die to make us smile. I'm paraphrasing. But if you really think about it, imagine the sacrifice, the time that you take to think about the art, to create, just to make somebody else smile through your pain.
Yeah, ne?
Right?
Yeah, ne?
But yeah, so I think that's how, honestly, if you look at songs, man, oh my, music is beautiful. The way people write music, talking to God, like, dear God, why is my heart so broken? Etc, etc, etc.
Yeah.
You know, the expression that comes out of art, the emotion that comes out of art. But let's not settle too much on that, because we're fighting with time here.
We're fighting with time. Again, a volunteer, Trevor.
No, my fear is if the phone switches off, but let's just continue.
Yeah, that'll be crazy. What if it switched off 20 minutes ago?
Then we'll continue with the audio. It's whatever.
Turn into an audiobook now.
Communion with nature.
Yeah.
Spending time outdoors, whether hiking, kayaking, or simply being in nature, can evoke a sense of spiritual connection.
Kayak here.
We can't, I don't know if we can kayak here. Kayak here, I'm a Kora again. Yeah, we're going on a boat. Religious rituals. Participating in religious services or worship ceremonies often includes rituals that reinforce one's spiritual beliefs. For example, going to church and praying with people and then going through the activity of church, it rejuvenates your soul all the time. Oh my goodness. Every single Sabbath, I go to church. I sit through the program. I'm like, wow, how rejuvenating is this?
Rest for real.
Right? Personal creativity.
Yeah.
Engaging in personal creative outlets like painting, writing, or crafting can be a form of spiritual expression. I love this one. This one, I love it. Every morning, when I write devotion, that's a form of creativity for me. Just sharing.
Yeah, I don't play writing, I guess.
So yeah.
You're well within the bracket.
No. I don't know if anybody would really pick up. If you've seen like the amount of times it has changed, the style of devotion has changed. I went from a sandwich, and then reflecting and journaling. Recording thoughts, reflections, or moments of gratitude can deepen one's spiritual practice. Basically, having a prayer journal can be one of those things. Or when you read a Bible verse, you
Talk about how it resonates.
It resonates with you.
Yeah.
This one I'm going to run through it. Deepening the spiritual mindset. Embracing empathy, cultivating compassion, understanding, and forgiveness towards oneself and others contributes to a deeper spiritual mindset. People-centric practices, engaging in community service, volunteering, or guiding others on their spiritual journey, fosters a connection to a broader community. Wow. Service roles, taking on leadership or service roles in faith communities, programs, or guiding meditation and journaling sessions contributes to a deeper understanding of spirituality. Continual learning, reading and discussing spiritual topics continuously, enriching one's spiritual understanding and growth. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? With this one,
All facts.
I found that when you connect with God, when you really have that thirst and that hunger for Him, you almost naturally, not even almost, you naturally do all these things.
Yeah.
Without having to define them like this.
Hey, you find yourself within all these spaces automatically.
Yeah. So, I want to talk about something that I think really affects us as human beings. Something that speaks to the fear of being a spiritual human being, right? So the potential downsides and challenges related to spirituality within the context of mental health and well-being encompasses several important considerations. So why are we talking about this? I think it's important because we're helping people to guard themselves against other people who maliciously use spirituality to pounce on vulnerable people, right? Because to be spiritual, you are vulnerable.
Yeah.
Literally submitting yourself completely to God, you are vulnerable, right? So this is just an act of empathy to say, look, I understand it's uncomfortable to start out in the spiritual journey, but here are the things you should look out for. So, vulnerability and caution. Vulnerable individuals, especially the young or emotionally fragile, may be susceptible to manipulation or exploitation by those using spirituality for personal gain or to recruit followers. Caution is advised around self-proclaimed leaders or groups aiming to drastically alter beliefs or create divisions among individuals. Just to add a bit of 2 cents to that, in order to know that you're growing spiritually, you need to be able to describe the Bible for yourself. You need to be able to read the Bible and have God give you insights.
Yeah.
Where it's as if a self-proclaimed spiritual leader is the answer to your everything. That's where the problem is. We do not define our spirituality with another human being.
Definitely.
Ever.
Definitely.
Balanced beliefs and red flags. Number 2, healthy spiritual practices do not encourage divisions but seek wholeness for individuals. Warning signs include extreme conversion efforts that isolate individuals from their social circles or disparage other faiths. Ooh. So this is a red flag. If somebody is coming to you and they are trying to totally convert you and not allowing you the time to relate to God on your own, that is a spiritual red flag. It's as if somebody is trying to invite you to a cult. You know, that is a
That
spiritual...
change you, yeah. Correct. Hey. And it's a difficult one. That is a red flag for real. You can't go into a situation and try to change someone. Your job is not to change. You just need to let them know. Just approach from a friendly standpoint. Don't come in and bombard people with information and try to force it down their throats.
I think for me, I've experienced this in myself, which I think honestly, I actually empathize with people who take this route to try and win souls over. I mean, the bombarding, the forcing.
Yeah.
You know, because when you begin this journey and you discover this diamond called Jesus, you want to tell him to everybody, right? You want to go around telling everybody about the man, right?
Yeah.
Only except that now we become so passionate that we forget that the
The
Holy
approach
Spirit,
matters.
yeah, the Holy Spirit does the conversion. It's
Yeah.
not us.
Yeah, we just need to do the telling.
We do the telling, Holy Spirit does the rest. Let people be. People will come to Jesus on their own.
Yeah.
All you have to do is tell the message. And I'm saying this and I'm listening to it myself, especially somebody who is so passionate about evangelizing.
Yeah.
Allow people to be. Do not isolate people from their social circles, right? Allow people to recognize for themselves when they are going down a slippery path. In fact, pray for them. That is the best thing you can ever do. Pray that God reveals himself to people.
Yeah.
Spiritual struggles and mental health. Spiritual struggles, particularly among those with psychiatric disorders, can exacerbate mental health distress. These struggles involve conflicts related to belief, morals, life's purpose, and can predict greater depression and even suicidality. So simply put, the way spirituality is connected to mental health,
Yeah.
it's like when you are a person who suffers with deep mental health problems. Well, I'm going to attach myself to this because this is something that I tend to go through. Not that I have a psychiatric disorder, but as somebody who knows what depression is, who knows what anxiety is,
Yeah.
I found that when I'm in that deep depressive state, that anxious state, I'm like, oh man, God doesn't like me. God hates me. God is going to punish me for my sins. Oh my God. It's like I move away from...
Start blowing things out of proportion.
I start blowing things out of proportion.
Yeah.
You know. So when people are struggling spiritually, we need to be careful with our approaches because we don't know how it's going to affect their relationship with God.
Yeah.
Right? Even us, ourselves, we need to be careful with our spiritual struggles and our mental health because we tend to blow things out of proportion. Navigating spiritual struggles, as if that's an answer. Addressing spiritual struggles involves seeking guidance, exploring beliefs, engaging in supportive communities, and employing practices like meditation or journaling to manage or overcome these challenges. Wow. So if you are dealing with spiritual struggles, ask for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help. As embarrassing as it is, even some things I haven't opened up to you yet about, I will always try my best to tell the next person about my spiritual struggles. No matter how awkward it might be, I will tell it, you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I realize that I really do blow things out of proportion. I tend to not give myself grace. You know, I'm like, oh no, I've made a mistake. Jesus doesn't love me anymore. Oh, God is going to destroy me. Oh, you know. So seek guidance. Address your spiritual struggles, right? Engage in supportive communities. You know, I've been wondering what happened to small groups in our church.
What do you mean small groups?
Don't you remember when we were young and we had this thing called small group where every other day we would go to somebody? It's like different families. Different families would meet together and we would conduct worship together.
Actually, remember, Ibile, someone did mention it at church some time ago. Or what happened to that initiative?
That's a good initiative.
Yeah.
You know, because we used to study the Bible together. Which we actually, I think earlier as we were talking about having a mastermind group,
Yeah.
I thought about, I'm like, we need also to find that that balance. But I think we need to do it in two separate ways.
Yeah.
We need to foster that community aggressively within this coming year of hey, we need to foster a supportive community of people.
Yeah.
Where we are comfortable with our spirituality, where we can ask each other questions. That's just a thing I wanted to say. The role of spirituality in mental wellness. Spirituality plays a pivotal role in bolstering mental health by providing purpose, a supportive community, practices of self-improvement, and tools for self-advocacy and resilience. Basically, spirituality helps us tackle mental health issues by helping us find a purpose, by getting support from the church, from different people, by practicing self-improvement. Because, man, when you meet Jesus, he will definitely help you improve as a person.
Can't stay stagnant.
You can't stay stagnant.
It's impossible. Otherwise, you haven't met him.
Yeah, otherwise, exactly. Somebody once said, if you're doing something and it's going smoothly, and you it's almost as if you're excelling 100% at it, then you're not growing.
Yeah.
You're not doing the right thing. Because the journey of Christianity is full of bumps.
Definitely.
Self-advocacy and resilience. Self-advocacy in the sense that you learn how to stand for yourself. You learn how to be resilient, because when you're down, you pray to God and you ask him to push you forward, and he gives you that resilience. Right? Spirituality in the workplace. Integrating spiritual practices in the workplace demonstrates positive outcomes, fostering greater engagement, job satisfaction, reduced absenteeism, increased productivity, and higher morale, thereby contributing to overall mental wellness. I've thought about this. I've thought about, why is it that in Islamic countries, they genuinely take their religion so seriously that in workplaces they have prayer rooms, they have prayer time, but us as Christians, we don't do these things.
You just take it so lightly. I've always had this question at the back of my mind, just trying to figure out why can't we take it as seriously? Because clearly this is something that is important and that works. It's a proven concept, if I can put it. But we need to involve our spiritual or our God in every facet of our lives, whether it's in business or anything. So we can't just reserve him for only when we need something. So, hey, it's really a task for us to,
as Christians,
to try and involve him as much as we can in our businesses. Because I think that's pretty much where mostly he's lacking.
Oh man, that's genuinely a dream that I have for Hope Out the Grease. Like every other day I sit and I question the business model. I'm like, is it really the right approach to lead with, guys, come to Jesus, in the name of business, right? Because my fear is, what if people don't join the movement? Or what if the message becomes distorted along the way? Or what if it becomes the spiritual red flags we're talking about here?
Yeah.
And then almost when I'm questioning that, God tells me, you are exactly where I want you to be. Keep exploring this space. The business model is shaping itself. Don't detach from this. I think it's just up to me, honestly, to stick to that daily routine of connecting with him.
Yeah.
But like I'm just trying to drive the point that it's my dream that Hope Out the Grease will be a beacon of what Christian business is like.
Yeah.
You know, where we're able, we're at 1 o'clock during the day or 12 o'clock during the day, we come and we're breaking a fast together.
Yeah.
You know, where we come at, if you want to pray at whatever time, you go to the prayer room and you pray. I really want to see how far the business would go.
Sky's the limit. There's no limit.
But yeah,
Yeah.
understanding the nuances and potential pitfalls of spirituality in relation to mental health allows individuals to navigate these realms thoughtfully, seeking the positive benefits while being aware of possible challenges and red flags. I didn't read that in the right tone, but okay. Incorporating spirituality into mental health care can be beneficial, but requires a balanced and discerning approach. Wow. These are gems, dog. Yo.
Too much.
These are gems, what? I'm about to blow your mind as we come to a close. So remember how we were talking about nature.
Yeah.
And our our disconnect from nature. So I want to take us back to that disconnect from nature. But before that, I want to read Job 12 verses 7 to 10. So God says, but ask the beasts and they will teach you, the birds of the heavens and they will teach you, or the bushes of the earth and they will teach you, and the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of God has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of all mankind. Before I'm going to read from Isaiah. That scripture we read, Isaiah 40.
Yeah.
Isaiah 40, that was Job 12 verses 7 to 10. I'm going to read from Isaiah 40 verses 28 to 31. 25 to 31. To whom will you compare me? Who is my equal? Asks the Holy One. Look up into the heavens. Who created all the stars? He brings them out like an army, one after another, calling each by its name. Because of his great power and incomparable strength, not a single one is missing. O Jacob, how can you say the Lord does not see your troubles? O Israel, how can you say God ignores your rights? Have you never heard? Have you never understood? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of all the earth. He never grows weak or weary. No one can measure the depths of his understanding. He gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless. Even youths will become weak and tired, and young men will fall in exhaustion. But those who trust in the Lord will find new strength. They will soar high on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. So, when we read Job,
Yeah.
we see that it's as if God is boasting. I remember the time we were having the Bible study at church, I think 2 weeks ago, and Arunara Media asked, oh, sorry for outing his name like that, but anyway, a certain young man asked a question to say, why does God sound self-centered? Or another way it is is God an egomaniac? You know, and really we can't definitely answer this question, but we can learn about God's character and we will come to an answer that says something like, God is so merciful to us and he does so many things for us that we realize that he does deserve all the praise. He does deserve to speak about himself in that way. And for me, I think it's a way to assert his leadership role in our lives, that you can depend on me. I don't get tired. Look at a bird. A bird knows that I feed the bird. Right? Like, creation is God's way of showing us his authority.
Yeah.
He holds all the stars in place.
Knows every one of them by name.
He knows every one of them by name. When you magnify your problem and you say that God has forgotten you, he tells you about all this creation as if to say that you are amplifying your problem as if it's bigger than all of this creation. But if you could just make time for me, I'll be there with you. I will help you. You will run and you will get tired, but I don't get tired. I will give you that power to continue moving on.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, I just wanted to make that point. Sounds poetic, but that is the truth, man. Like,
That's the truth.
It's the truth. For me, I've realized when my spiritual life is on a decline, every other thing also declines. I become tired. I become so disconnected with my creative work. It becomes boring. I become so self-centered that I'm tired, that I forget that somebody else benefits from them listening to me saying all these things.
From the work that you do.
From the work that I do. The reason why it might be boring to me is because every day I do it.
Yeah.
I pray, I read, I try my best to read my Bible. But somebody else needs this word. It's not for me. It's for somebody else.
No, definitely.
You know.
Which is why we're doing this. It's not for our own glory, but also to help someone out there. Is this bottle cut?
Yeah. So, ChatGPT said, the passage we shared resonates deeply with the intricate connection between humanity and nature, illuminating the vital role of nature in our spiritual health. Here's an exploration and reflection of this profound relationship. The disconnect from nature. Over the years, a growing disconnect between people and nature has surfaced, accelerated by the digital revolution. This disconnection, witnessed within development and urban settings, has a notable impact on our spiritual and mental well-being. Wow. So, you know, the idea of modernization, us having modernized the world really comes into this, to be honest, because I've noticed that when I'm in the village or when I'm at the cattle post, I tend to connect so much more deeply with my Bible, right? Because everything is paused. I'm not fiddling with my phone to figure out what's happening. You know,
that's true. Which is why I think there's this whole concept of just going out of the city and just to take a break from the city life, from the busyness, from everything. When you get to the farm, it's all quiet. There's no noise. There's no distractions. You can be one with your thoughts. You can just relax, basically. So I think, tying that with the aspect of you being able to then read and understand your Bible much more effectively, because there's now way less distractions that you have when you're in the city. You log outside and into the city, there's this noise that already starts. But that said, go ahead now with your cows there.
And notice how people in these remote places are so connected with the earth. They can literally tell you it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Even our parents, the way that
without what's it called, this Yeah.
Even our parents, the way they're connected with the nature around them, it just shows how much digitalization has desensitized us to the world around us. You know, one thing I've noticed at home where I stay is that it's like the only time we share an intimate moment is when we pray together. After that, once we are done praying, we're back on our phones.
Yeah.
You know, we communicate through the phone. We share jokes with each other on the phone. You know, it's like we're so anxious that we can't sit together and really talk about things. I really always appreciate when the electricity is gone. And we share that moment with each other. We talk about things, you know, we catch up with each other. We get to learn each other. You know, not really. I'm just emphasizing that point of how much the digital world has desensitized us to the world around us. You know.
Because I think I had watched some video at some point, and the guy was talking about how much digitalization has affected us as a people. Because there was this guy was going into, I think it was an art museum or something. Then they created both a digital exhibition and you can also walk through the thing. So when you enter,
Diary of a CEO.
they give you what's it called?
A tablet, an iPad,
So you can walk around looking at the map and everything. So you find people are there, they rather look at the object that is right in front of them but through the tablet.
And get fascinated about
it than look at it physically because it's right there and talk about it.
Yes, bro. Like yesterday, I was driving through Manyana with my mom, and I'm looking at the hills, and I'm like, these rocks literally look like somebody cut them and placed them one on top of the other. It was a madness, bro. Like when you genuinely take time to explore nature, there's so much beauty in it. You feel love in it. You know, every morning when I wake up, I go read my Bible outside, and my dogs run. Always happy. They come and they harass me. They want to be with me, and I think sometimes I do get annoyed. I'm like, ish, wait, you know. But that feeling that wow, this animal really loves being with me. I almost always, not even almost always, I always feel the love of God through the dogs, because I'm like, wow. So this creature submits his whole life to make me happy.
Yeah.
That is beautiful, man. That is beautiful. But yeah, nature's influence on human psyche. Evidence demonstrates that reduced contact with nature negatively impacts our psyche and societal functioning. Our brains operate differently when immersed in nature, influencing behavior and cognition.
I think it's pretty much what we've
just been describing.
Yeah.
Christian reflection on nature. Christians have largely overlooked this growing disconnect. The implications of spirituality without regular connections to nature remain relatively unexplored with Christian discourse. This, I think we do the story of creation an injustice, in the sense that, remember what I said when I was expressing that we have made God into this ATM of blessings. Right? We have disconnected from having a relationship with God so much that we can't explore his character.
We only just go for the transactional base.
We only go for the transactional base. We don't try and explore what monkey. Monkey. It's a monkey looks so funny. Like literally today I was on a break from editing. So I was watching just YouTube shorts, which I hate, but anyway, I still do it. I was watching YouTube shorts, and this guy is taking a video of himself, and there's deer in his garage. And I'm like, and there's a lot of deer in the garage. So I'm wondering, so he walks out.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so what's going to happen? The deer, they're not running away, they're coming to him. Then he starts throwing pellets at them. I'm like, so this guy is feeding deer. So
There's so much.
so this is why there's a lot of deer. And I was like wondering to myself, how cool would it be to live in the bush and you wake up in the morning and wild animals are at your doorstep?
What kind of wild animals are you talking?
Any wild animal, bro. Like Russians play with bears, dude. Like
Exactly.
people are always laughing at Joe Rogan. he's always thinking about bears. But genuinely, bro, I would love to explore nature to that.
Like to wake up with an alligator right next to you.
No, come on, not
You said any animal.
maybe in a pond in close proximity. I can just go and watch crocodiles. Like,
Oh,
wow.
wow. Going to them. Yeah, no. But sorry, like to play with
No,
them.
yeah, the one who says that. The next point is saying loss without connection to creation. Lack of meaningful immersion in nature deprives individual of experiencing God's grandeur. I was saying this, and glory. Absence from nature diminishes a sense of wonder and gratitude. It also skews our perspective, distorting our understanding of our place in God's creation. I cannot say it any better. When you don't have a relationship with God, you make it hard for you to understand your place in creation. Reconnecting with creation. Suggestions for reconnecting with nature include spending time outdoors in reflection and prayer, embracing different weather conditions, caring for church landscapes, and enjoying public lands.
So I have some more technology.
Nature as a gateway to God. Nature serves as a conduit to God's magnificence and love, pointing us toward His greatness. Disregarding nature distances us from God's divine beauty and presence. Recognizing the spiritual peril in neglecting our connection to creation, Christians are encouraged to champion a reverence and a connection to the world around us, a world charged with the grandeur of God. This spiritual awareness and reconnection with nature serves as a testament to God's abundant love and magnificence reflected in His creation. That is, in its own, a powerful closing statement. I cannot go any further than this. One, because I'm tired. Two, because burnout. Two, because I'm in this state of appreciation. You know, I'm really so appreciative of how, as I'm speaking about this, in my own mind, I'm exploring all these things of how beautiful nature is, bro. Like, even just the fact that we were able to go through this whole entire episode with something to talk about, because the truth is we were not ready to
get into this episode. You know, I had a feeling.
But yeah, we were not ready to get into this episode. But you don't need to know the nitty-gritties. I am more than happy that you're gonna watch two parts of this. I'm grateful for the support that we get, honestly, within our small community, with people just always being in amazement when we explain to them what we're trying to do. Because in my head, sometimes it's like, it's simple, dog.
Yeah.
It's so
You
simple.
think everyone will get it.
I think everybody would get it. But just looking at people's minds go, poof, I'm like, what? You know,
You get a different appreciation.
you get a different appreciation of the work, you know, without saying too much. This is 7 degrees where the misunderstood understand each other. Hope out the grease for the creative.
By the creatives.
By the creatives. Peace.
Sign. Mic drop.
2 hours. You are.
I felt already when we made an accident when I was there to you.
I also knew. I also knew. I also knew. You guys, we're about to sell t-shirts. Support local.
Merchandise dropping soon. Link in the whatnots.
Link in the bio.
In the bio.